All right, it is April 2nd, 2026, a Thursday, almost Friday, and we're going to discuss relationships once again. And we're going to discuss, obviously, which part of the dual mating strategy do you want to be, the alpha bang, alpha seed, or the beta male provider side. And that's not just only it. I mean, that's part of it, but it's also recognizing, I've made this clear, is recognizing when you're not respected, when you're not respected, you're not loved. And I've said in these cases, you are in grave danger when that happens. And that doesn't mean your life is in danger. It just means that your interests are in danger. I mean, women do not have a soft spot for men in these positions, and you can't make them. And it is very important to learn how to maneuver in these situations. Extremely important. And I'm only giving my opinion. I've been on this planet for 50 years. I've had a lot of experience in dating. I've had a lot of experience being single. I've had a lot of experience being in relationships. I've been on both sides of this issue. I've been the victim of betrayal, and I've been an active participant in the betrayal. So, and I think most people, if they're honest with themselves, especially at my age of 50, they've been one or the other. They might not admit it, but, and again, I don't usually draw, or hardly ever draw, morality in any of these things. People will go after their agenda, what's good for them at the moment. And even in this case, I don't draw any morality behind any of these things. She was doing what she wanted to do, and he did what he thought was the best. And now, you can say never. It's never okay to do what happened in this case, and that's why we talk about this stuff. There was abuse and there was physical violence. That's because they didn't deal with these issues soon enough, and it got out of hand. That's never okay. And don't think that we're saying that this is okay. And the reason I like to put out videos like this is there may be someone out there that's, they're going through it. They just discovered an affair by their wife. If you can watch this case, it is how not to behave. And if you are discovering this, number one, take a breath. Take a breath. It is horrible to find out you've been betrayed in a relationship, but your world is not over. There are more women out there. Trust me, I've been single, and there are women out there that will love you, that will be down for you, that will respect you. Take a breather, reach out to somebody. I would say a male friend. I'm talking for the guy side. I'm not talking, ladies, you got to find help yourself. But even ladies, take a breath and go find a trusted friend that can help walk you through this. Maybe someone that's been through it. For men, and that's who I tend to speak to, is go reach out to a male friend, a brother, someone that's been through this. And the first thing they'll say is, just calm down. It's not over, because for guys, it is. I mean, women might not understand this. I don't know where it comes from. I'm not, I'm a psychology major, Bachelor of Science, but I'm not, a psychologist. And so I do know from my own experience, it is horrible to hear that your partner has betrayed you. So yes, guys, calm down, take a breath, and circle the wagons. Meaning, watch your finances, protect your money, protect your finances. But best thing to do, first of all, take a breath. It's not over. And lastly, go get a friend. Go reach out to a friend, and probably best, maybe reach out to some therapy. That's up to, again, up to you. But what happens in this case? Well, we have G Konig. Like I said, he's an anesthesiologist. His wife is a nuclear project engineer, and she does nuclear projects. They met, and I've noticed this is the second case, and there may be more, but I just named two specifically now. They met off of eHarmony. They both apparently had a paid subscription. He tried some free dating apps, but what I have noticed, especially from this one, this is not a knock against it, but it is a way for women to have basically search for beta males, in my opinion, on that site. Not that, you can't successfully, have a quick, rendezvous, but, and it's obviously possible, but, they're all on several dating apps. But I have noticed that this one more than any, A lot of them are looking for that beta male. So watch, again, that's not a knock on it. And, you can say that about any of them. And how do you know? Well, a woman should be quickly interested. If she's sexually interested in you, she should quickly be interested in talking and flirting about sexuality, and not what you do, how much you make, what do you do on your off time. They have those, what are your hobbies, a lot of it comes down to, how many kids do you have, where do you live. That's all beta male provider questions. But anyway, so they meet on eHarmony, and they live in Pittsburgh. And he's a professor of anesthesiology, apparently, and he's also practicing anesthesiology. But at some point, they get to a point where, he wants to move to Maui for whatever reason. And so they both, make a big decision to move to Maui. And they have 2 children. They're very young. So beta male providership, it will not protect you just because you have kids, and just because she said she has kids with you. That does not protect you from your woman wanting to bang an alpha male. I'm just telling you, because she has I believe a 4-year-old in this one and a 1.5-year-old. So she's over the kids thing. I mean, women follow their feelings, I'm telling you. And she ends up, it seems to be, she has thousands and thousands of messages to her, somebody higher in the company. I don't know if he, that doesn't really say he's her boss. It doesn't really matter, but he's definitely of higher status than her in the company, right? And he does not seem to be, quote unquote, and there's no quote unquote, what a woman will find to be an alpha bang. And who knows if he is or not, but she definitely had a lot of interest in him. She definitely was interested in sharing her life with him. She was constantly texting this guy. I mean, they had texts from morning to night. And these guys, they also don't care. Women don't care when they really want you, whether you're married or not, because he was. And men, for sure, they're mate poachers a lot of times. And, especially beta males, they're big time mate poachers. And they do not care about your feelings. They give no F. Men give no Fs. That's why it's dangerous to hang around beta males. They'll take your girl quicker than anything. So, anyway, but she's texting and they're using WhatsApp, okay? And Gerhardt in 2024, it all comes to a crescendo in March of 2024, and so all this must be happening 2023. So I think he discovered it in August. She has a trip to South Africa, and she doesn't tell him good night or some crap like that. But she's steadily texting the other dude, Jeffrey Miller, and he kind of notices. So, and then he also notices, when they're living at home and stuff like that, that she tends to be hiding her phone. So she's hiding her phone, and look, he knew. He didn't need to go. They said he went into detective mode. You don't need to go into detective mode. You need to go into protective mode. Do not go into, when you have that inkling. Men, we know patterns, and we are very good at recognizing patterns. Women too, but humans in general, but men especially with our mates. When your girl ain't acting right. Now, again, always take a breather. It's not always what you think it is. Reach out to a buddy, take a breather, if you see it for what it is. Now, and give us some space. But there's no coming back. If your girl has, things will work out the way they're going to work out. Whether you get involved, whether you go into detective mode, okay, fine. You see all the, the things you can't unsee. I mean, you're not going to be able to unsee that forever. So when you find out all that stuff, it's just going to make you more mad, probably more susceptible to being charged in a crime like this one. So I would recommend going into protection mode for yourself, finding a friend, and protecting your money, and figuring out, with the help of a buddy, with the help of taking a step back, figuring out what you're going to do, what's your next move, without confronting them. Okay, you figure out that later, because they're probably too mixed up in their little affair anyway. Because what I will tell you is, women will often, once they know that you're gonna kind of check out, once they know you found out about everything and you're done, what's one of the first things she does? Ariel Konig was one of the first things she does in this case. She takes $120,000 out of the bank account and removes it. So you'll see that a lot of times. Women will go after the resources, okay? Again, not good, not bad. I'm just telling you what happens. So, and they want to make it sound like, oh, she was paying his bills, and she was paying the girl's tuition, and whatever. So then why not leave it in the bank account, right? And these are two well-to-do, affluent people. An anesthesiologist, again, beta male provider type attitude, and who has $120,000 in the bank account today? Come on, they had money. So once again, does money make people more more loyal, more faithful, more interested in talking to you? And the reason I say that is you'll often hear in the red pill, manosphere, whatever it is, follow your purpose. Yes, it is important to follow your purpose 100% as a man. Do things for you, go better yourself, but you do them for you. You don't do them for women. And in that time, you also perfect, your mind, your body, and your social skills and your interaction with women. You work on that, right? It's a constant, constant game you need to be working on with yourself, because you need it all. We could say, a lot of guys want to say follow your purpose and go get the bag and don't pay attention to women until you get the bag, and then they think once you get the bag, you're just gonna lay back and women are gonna just fall all over you. And I used to have this real nice, if anyone knows, back in the day, like I said, about 50 years. In 2010, I bought me a brand new 2010 Shelby GT500 Mustang. And I remember one time someone telling me, hey, I bet you've had a lot of girls come up to you in that car. And I'll tell you what, I had ever had any girls come up to me because of the car I drove. Maybe it helped on a date, who knows, I don't know. But it was, I couldn't believe that, maybe they think that, I don't know. But, but chasing the bag, a lot of guys want to say chase the bag because it's laziness. They want to sit there and think, I get that, I used to think that myself, If you chase the bag, you chase your purpose, you get to be this successful guy, and, girls will appreciate that, and all of a sudden you just kick back and, you meet girls and they'll see what you made of yourself, and they don't care. And you always got to have your foot on the gas anyway. Always keep your foot on that gas, Always make sure you're staying in the gym. Always make sure that you're, keeping your body where it needs to be. Always make sure that you're working on your social skills. Always make sure that you're working on, how you interact with people, And it's okay to criticize yourself, but always, in every aspect of your life, it's always okay to get better. And it's a competitive game out here with women. So, again, if life was about, getting that bag and then getting ladies, then we would see that, like a guy like A Konig, he's got no worries, nothing at all. So anyway, once he discovers this, he goes into detective mode with her, and he finds a bunch of text messages. She's deleted a bunch of text messages from this Jeffrey Miller guy. And like I said, in my opinion, these were not very lover-ish text messages. What are you doing today? And how you been all day? And it almost sounded like Mr. Jeffrey Miller was bored, and she's bored. But be careful in that kind of relationship. You want your girl to be your lover. You want to talk how lovers talk. And this guy was definitely not talking. I didn't see anything sexual, but she did delete tens of thousands of messages. So who knows if those were sexual in nature? I don't know. But girls love a beta male friend. They do. Why? Because the alpha seed side, which she didn't have at this point, in my opinion. We don't know, but definitely wasn't her husband. And they don't give her attention. Alpha seeds go do their thing and they take off. And girls liked beta males because they'll give attention, willy-nilly. No, your time and attention is important. So anyway, so apparently, Gerhardt, they reach out, he gets an audio book, how to heal from an affair. Do not do that either. You cannot, I know as much as men want to, and I've been there, you want to instruct your girl and have a Men love to be logical and rational. You'll never logic and ration a girl out of her affair. She's going to do, how many times have I said it? She's going to do what she wants to do. And you cannot keep her from doing what she wants to do. So do not try to get her to read a book. And she did read How to Heal from a Sexual Affair, some crap like that. And they were asking her questions, and she was acting like she read it. I don't think she knew the answers. So I don't think she read the book. But that is a extremely terrible thing. And I understand for men. I've been there. You want to try to say, look, and this is why you should not have an affair. She knows why she shouldn't have an affair, but her feelings that she's having with this guy, Mr. Miller, and any woman, is more important to her. That is more important to her than this book you're making her read. You're just digging yourself a hole. You cannot logic your way out of a sexual affair. You cannot logic your way into a woman's heart. You just can't. They have to feel it. So then they go to counseling, which, again, shout out Rollo Tomasi once again. I love him. And it has to be burning desire. You have to deal with a woman's burning desire. You cannot lie, like Rollo Tomasi says, you cannot logic and reason your way into a woman's bed. You cannot. So if you're dating out here, you're not going to logic and reason, well, women should do this, and well, studies show, blah, blah. If you're doing that to win over a chick, you're not. It's not going to work. They work on feelings, right? You have to get in their minds, right? And they have to feel a certain way about you. Just like I said, Jeffrey Miller does not seem to be an alpha male kind of guy. But again, it's how she feels about him. She could say, oh, heck yeah, he was. In her mind, for this time period. Now, maybe later on, she's like, yeah, he's a loser. But at this time, this point of her life, maybe A Konig was saying, he's her alpha right now. Who knows, right? But you cannot, counseling doesn't work because it's usually just negotiated desire. And one thing that Gerhardt does really badly in this case, and again, I like the guy. He's super smart, and he seems like a nice guy. He seems like he made a mistake. And, again, I'm not, commenting on, the morality of it. But he then says, like I've discussed before in another video, is he wanted to try to get intimacy from her. He wasn't getting intimacy. When you're lacking intimacy in your relationship, you cannot negotiate for it. And that was one of the things they were trying to do in counseling. And he says then it turns into something else. And a lot of times counseling turns into, especially if you got a female counselor, it turns into the woman's agenda. Now, I'm not, again, that's not putting a broad stroke on any therapist. But what I am saying is you cannot negotiate for sex. A woman has to freely and with excitement, with enthusiasm, be giving you sex. And once again, shout out Rollo. But when a woman wants to bang you, she will find a way to bang you. And that is so true. So I've had to use that in my own life. A lot of times I've heard women say, I don't like it when a guy says, WYD, what are you doing? Or, shows up out of nowhere. And, hey, what's going on, lady? Hey, stranger. A guy does that because if she wanted to, she would. And that's simply a woman's prerogative. If she wants to find you, now if she reaches out to you, better. But, or the only way. Because I've had it in my own experience where if I've ever reached out to a woman, it's always better if she reaches out to me. And we often think, well, maybe I need to push it a little bit. Maybe I need to give her a suggestion. No. If they want to, they will. And so, and that's what he tries to do in this case. He tries to say, well, every other day, we can go ahead and, have sexual relations. He wanted every other day, which is not a stretch. I mean, it's as far as men go, if women are being honest with themselves, which who knows, but if they are, but my male people around, if they every other day, I think a guy could live with that in a marriage. Oh yeah, heck yeah. But couldn't be because you demanded it. It has to be because she wanted to do it. She comes up with that. Hey, you know what? To prove to you that I'm down for you, honey, then let's go ahead and do this every other day. Or she has to. And she has to, just like in this case, he was trying to get her to stop talking to the guy. He was trying to get her to switch her job. You can't do that either. It has to be her idea. And then, so when she's not doing this, right, he becomes frustrated because he's trying to negotiate all these things. It has to be, and I get it from his side. He wants to keep the relationship together, and I've been there. You want to keep the relationship together, but she has to want to keep it together more than you do. She has to be so, like, I can't find it. That's why the girl has to believe you're her hero. That's why the girl has to believe that you're, and it's a little, exaggerated, but not much, is the girl has to believe you're her super dude, And so she can't find you anywhere else. You're the only place she can get the feelings that you give to her. And like I've said before, and I don't know who else has said this, but I know it's been said before, is a woman doesn't love you. She loves the way you make her feel. So she knows if she loses you, she will not get those feelings anymore. So when she's yucking it up with Jeffrey Miller, his wife, Gerhardt's wife, when she's yucking it up with Jeffrey Miller, she already knows she can get feelings from another man. So it's over. Your relationship at that point is over. There's no fixing it. You gotta circle the wagon, reach out to a buddy, like I've already said. But in this case, she even gets mad that he reaches out to a friend of his who also was married to her best friend, and she gets upset because he's reached out to them when they're about to have a couple's vacation, which again, upper status people have couples vacations apparently, and they apparently have just repaired from an affair, and so she gets mad that she wasn't notified before he told them, which again, she is going to be offended. She's going to be taken aback by anything you come up with because she already has a new number one, and it's Mr. Jeffrey Miller. He doesn't have, like I've said before, he doesn't have to ask her to call. He doesn't have to ask her to text. He probably doesn't have to ask for sex, if they've had it or not. Now, they went through his computer. He had searches of infidelity. Yes, men get rocked by this. He was rocked by it. So he's searching for him for infidelity. He's searching divorce. He never searched, how do I kill my wife on a hiking trip? No. And so they go hiking, and that's where this all takes place. They go to apparently Oahu. And now again, I'm not real skilled on Hawaiian islands, but Oahu is apparently where Honolulu is. And so they go from Maui to Oahu, and they go on this hike, okay? And this is going to be a nice vacation. What have I said before? You cannot vacation your wife into liking you. You cannot vacation your wife and wanting to be sexual with you. You cannot negotiate for that. It has to be, she wants to, with burning desire and enthusiasm. So, but anyway, he's still trying to do this beta male type attitude. Do not do that. You cannot buy your way into her good graces. You cannot force her to read books. You cannot I don't know if I made it clear enough. You cannot logically and rationally do this. So if you're at this point, you need to end it, because at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. If you're miserable and you're letting this go on, it's your fault. This is all his fault to a certain degree, because it's his job to lead the relationship. And he led the relationship into where luckily he did not lose his life, and luckily she did not lose her life, but people have been injured and people have been affected the rest of their lives. I mean, he's still on trial. We still don't know what the case will end up as. He's spent over 2 years having to worry about this, and he spent tons of money on a defense attorney. And just he's losing his marriage. I mean, and the social reputation backlash that he's had to endure on this whole thing. I mean, he's been on national TV. I mean, I'm in Houston, Texas. I know about this stuff going on apparently on Oahu Island. So this is an L big time. So has he? I mean, like I said, he hasn't lost his life, but he has lost a lot. And if you don't take care of this, if you don't get a hold of yourself, you will pay. You've got to leave situations and be honest with yourself. And going into these affairs and stuff like that, it is super hard. But again, take a breather. It's not over. but your life, I mean. But your relationship probably is about 98% chance it is over. And once again, reach out to a buddy. But what's he try to do? He tries to go on a hike, and they had a nice dinner planned after the hike, and her side says, well, he was going up to push her off a cliff. I don't think he was going to do that, but that's just my opinion. I do think that when did he say that the situation got out of control? Well, he apparently was not in a good mood. They were arguing, and he said that he was going to go up hiking, and she went her own way, and he went his own way. They decided to come back down, but apparently he told her that she says that she wants to or has to start, to continue to work with her man that she's, having this affair with, emotional affair at this point. She's needs to continue working with him, and he's wanted her to get a new job, which you can't mandate, and he's wanted her to quit working with him. And he says, you know what, I'm done. And I think the words they use were, I'm tired of this shit. And that's and he says that he's going to notify, basically family and friends, and he's going to leave her. She needs to move out. But when does it get out of control? When he says he's going to notify family and friends. And what have I said before, fellas? Image control. She knows that she's about to be outed. Her image and reputation. And for a woman, those are marching words of battle. It's an instinctual, like instinct. And according to him, she goes to try to push him off the mount or the cliff. But there's competing stories in this. But what we do know is in this kind of scuffle that they had, he does hit her in the head with a rock. He does injure her. It was not a life-threatening injury. In my opinion, I think attempted murder is a little high of a charge. Because if a man wants to get you off that cliff, he would have gotten her off that cliff. And this is not me saying it's okay. No, it's not. Absolutely not. It's not okay to hit her in the head with a rock. Absolutely not. Whether he says, self-defense or whatever, it's not okay. None of it's okay. But what I'm saying is if he really wanted to do damage, he could have done a lot. Women don't understand at times, or they forget how strong a man is. And if a man wants to do something, if he wants to have his way, he will have his way. And this is not to make it okay. This is actually for men, number one, know that you can, if you're not in the right headspace, that, you could be, susceptible to this. And women, they need to watch out, make sure that their behavior is on board. And so that these situations don't happen. But she gets hit in the head twice. She's screaming, help, help. And at the end of the day, he then goes up the mountain. She gets away. They notify police. They come out and do all their stuff. They go looking for him. He calls his son, says, this is over. I'm done. He's going to end it, but he doesn't, thank God. And, but at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, he's thinking about if he gets, who knows if he gets his medical license back. I mean, he's worked 8 years of his life, maybe 10 years of his life to get that. Spent tons of money. That's his livelihood. And all this by not controlling his relationship and by not controlling the narrative of his life. And that's important, gentlemen. You must control the narrative of your life, because if you give the narrative of your life, and this has happened to me, and I learned the hard way, trust me. I'm speaking of experience. If you allow other people to control the narrative of what happened in a situation or what happened in your life, it is hard. What is it? Rolla says this is the amount of BS to refute BS is like exponentially large. I mean, to try to, win back your reputation from someone that's tried to damage it is. And so in this kind of situation, he allowed her to run with the narrative, he tried to kill me, and he tried to do this, he's this and that, and so now, look at him. He's had to get lawyers. He's probably, maybe lost his medical license. I mean, we don't know, but she's been allowed to run with the narrative. She's sullied his reputation, in the media. I mean, this is just, it's gotten out of hand. And why? Because he was not able to lead and control the situation when he had the chance to. So, once again, like I say, being the beta male provider is how, like I said, how much more skilled, how much more status can you get than a specialized doctor? And I will tell you, anesthesiologist is easily making 6 figures and mid 6 figures probably. Even let's say $250,000. Come on, I mean that is high status, so what? How much more? I've said it before. How much more money do you need? How much more money? That's probably 1% of income earners. You're gonna think you're gonna go get a job that's ever gonna pay you 200, at a corporate company, making 250 G's if you run your own company, maybe. But is that enough? You're gonna be at 99% of people in the world. You still can't control your woman because she's going to do what she wants to do. She's going to do how she feels appropriate to do. And there's a guy out there making $0 who is, giving it to a girl just as good as some guy making 0.1% of income earners. So I think I would go with that route. Work on those skills of being the alpha bang, because you're much more likely to achieve that than you are to achieve 1% of income earners in the world. And again, like I said, women don't seem to appreciate it. So where are we at in this case? Well, right now he's on trial. He just testified today, and it's wrapping up. But there are 3 words in this trial that came out. I think I got to give shout out to the defense attorney, and he said, A Konig, and this is, if this is your wife, then act accordingly, because he said unfaithful. She was unfaithful to the marriage. She was unfaithful to the relationship, whether you're in a committed relationship or not. So she's unfaithful. So when you have an unfaithful wife or girlfriend, you can expect her to be unwilling to do things. She will definitely be unwilling to do things on your schedule, probably. She has to do it because she wants to do it. And she's untruthful. She will definitely lie. She will minimize. And just like she did in this case, she would lie. She would placate when it was good for her. And that's obvious. She's going to do that. But as a man, a lot of times we want to believe it. We want the relationship to work. But as a man, you have to lead relationships. When you discover betrayal, you have to be willing to walk. You always got to keep your foot on the gas as a man. Keep your body, keep your mind in a state of wanting, and for women wanting to be sexual with you. It's true. You have to keep your foot on the gas. There is no ever letting up. A lot of guys think, well, I can get married, I can get a long-term relationship, but I just let up on the gas. I can gain a few pounds, I can slow down on my purpose. No, always keep your foot on that gas pedal, guys. You have the burden of performance. Now, I'm not saying, worry about it every single minute. No, but there's, you got to keep yourself in good shape. You got to keep yourself in a good state of mind. You got to keep yourself socially, and intellectually, basically the ability to be social, be intellectual people is important, and to have a good social interaction with women, that is important. And you have to always have this. You can't just wrap up yourself into a recluse. So a lot of guys want to believe in the blue pill mindset and be like, okay, well, I've achieved the bag and I can let myself go, and nope, you can't. So and you're always competing, in my opinion. So but we will see what happens with this trial. I think they overcharged. I hope there's an acquittal in this case. This is my opinion. I think that he made a big mistake. I think he definitely regrets it now. He needs to learn from this mistake. He needs to go learn about women. He needs to listen to my videos, but he needs to go get him some red pill and learn about women, and stop being so controlling, because he tried to be controlling. You cannot control a woman. But hopefully he's learned his lesson. But look how much he's lost. Look how much you will pay if you do not have your your ducks in order with relationships, if you don't understand power dynamics in a relationship, if you don't understand what it means to have a woman's respect, if you don't understand when you don't have a woman's respect, how much this can cost you. And a lot of times people think, well, oh, you're trying to study red pill, or you're trying to study manosphere stuff, or you're trying to study how to get laid. That's not what this is about. This is about saving lives. It's about saving your career. It's about saving your social reputation. That's huge. And a lot of times men don't have that. This is much more than trying to figure out words and tricks and things to get them laid. It's trying to figure out how to walk through, or how to maneuver through relationships and the power dynamics that we were never taught. We were never taught this stuff. So once again, this is the Ariel Gerhard Konig. It is going to be set to a verdict pretty soon, but we will see, and then we'll talk about the next one later.